Hello everyone, Jai Hind and welcome to the platform of Shri Ram's IAS. आप सभी का स्वागत है once again in the platform of Shri Ram's IAS. And today, as I told you, that we will be discussing about the powers of President of India in the next 20 minutes. But before that, let me tell you that we are offering you with 1:1 free mentorship where you can get in contact with the mentors that we have at Shri Ram's IAS. And if you are encountering any problem, any doubts while preparing for the civil services, that will be solved by these trusted mentors. What you have to do is a very simple task that you have to click on the description of this video and you will find there is a Google form that is there, and on clicking on that link you have to fill that Google form, and ultimately our mentors will get in touch with you and they will solve any doubt, any problem that you are encountering while preparing for the civil services. Now moving ahead, I told you about Indian President, and we are talking about President of India. The President of India, who is basically a constitutional head, he is the head of the nation, as well as he is a nominal head when it comes to the Indian political setup. Alright, he is the union, the foundation comes under the article, we have article from 52 to 78 that lays down the principles or the articles or the foundation for the union executive. Alright, we have article 53 that lays down that all the executive power of the union will be vested in the President of India, and at the same time this has to be read along with article 74 that lays down that the President, he acts on the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers, or the President shall, over here the word is shall, that that creates a foundation that the President has to act on the aid and advice of the President, although the executive power vests with the President, and that lays down the foundation for the nominal head that we have, the kind of the position of President in India. Alright, the President may not rule, but at the same time he reigns over the conscience of the Republic. And also when it comes to the nature, he is a nominal head, but also at the same time, he is central to the constitutional functioning of our Constitution of India. Now, when we are talking about the powers of the President of India, they could be broadly classified into 6 different heads. We have executive power that is vested from Article 53 to Article 75, where we are talking about the appointments, we are talking about the administration of the complete union. At the same time, there are legislative powers vested from Article 79 to 111, where we are talking about his role in the Parliament as well as the law making. At the same time, we have financial powers under Article 112 to 117 and even Article 280, where we are talking about the budget as well as the Finance Commission under Article 280. At the same time, we have he or she have the judicial roles as well. The judicial powers have been given under Article 72 and Article 143. And they are very important because have been asked in your UPSC examination various times. Alright, so over here there are pardoning and advisory jurisdiction that is there. Then we have diplomatic powers under Article 51 and 73, and also the military powers given under Article 53 clause 2 and under Article 74, which lays down that the President of India is the supreme commander of the armed forces in India. Now, when we talk about the President, he acts on the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers, and this has been laid down under Article 74. Clause 1, that the President, over here the main word to be noted is that he shall. Shall is a compulsion. Alright, you have to understand that in polity, words matter very much. Alright, the President shall act on aid and advice of the Council of Ministers headed by the Prime Minister. Over here, this was made a binding advice. The advice was made binding by the 42nd Amendment Act in 1976. However, later on, by the 44th Amendment in 1978, it was said the President can once send back the advice for the reconsideration. However, after the reconsideration, the President is bound to act, and that lays down that we have responsible government within the constitutional monarchical setup. Now, coming back to the powers, the executive powers have been laid down from Article 53 to 75. And over here it says that the executive power of or executive functions, all the executive authority of the union is vested in the President of India. However, he functions through the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers, and even through bureaucracy and the constitutional officers which are there. Over here, the president have certain executive powers, like for example, for the appointment. He appoints the Prime Minister. Along with Prime Minister, he appoints Minister, the Attorney General of India, the CAG, governors and all the other constitutional functionaries. At the same time, he also removes governors, Attorney General of India and CAG as per the procedure that has been established by the Constitution. And he runs administration through the rules under Article 77, and also he summons, prorogues as well as dissolves Lok Sabha on the advice of the cabinet. Over here, there is a very important landmark case, Shamsher Singh versus State of Punjab in 1974, where it was laid down that the president acts on the advice, the real power lies with the Council of Ministers, which is headed by the Prime Minister. The next comes the legislative powers given under Article 79 to 111, where the president have the power to summon. He has the power to summon or prorogue the sessions of the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, and also to dissolve the Lok Sabha. Alright, he can also dissolve the Lok Sabha. Also, he addresses the first session after the election of the Lok Sabha, and also after the first session that is conducted every year. And also, his assent is important. His assent is important for any bill to become a law or act in the country. Alright, for the ordinary bill, his assent or he can return it, but for the money bill, he cannot return it because the money bill is introduced after the permission of the president itself. And then he has also ordinance making power under Article 123. Important because whenever the parliament is not in session, then at that point of time he can make temporary laws which are called as ordinances under the Article 123 for the whole of nation. Alright, when it comes to the parliamentary proceedings, so over here he has the nomination powers as well. In the Rajya Sabha, he nominates 12 members in Rajya Sabha with the special knowledge in literature, science, art and with the social service under Article 80. Until 104th Constitutional Amendment Act, he also had the power to nominate 2 members in the Lok Sabha from the Anglo-Indian community, but now that has been taken away. Alright, so he does not have this power right now. And at the same time, when it comes to the reports, there are certain reports which are laid down in the parliament by the president, alright, before the parliament through, or these are the reports which are laid down by the president when he gets these reports from the Comptroller and Auditor General, that is CAG, the Finance Commission, and also the report from the UPSC or Union Public Service Commission. They are tabled in the parliament by the president. Alright, so he has a symbolic role where the president is the integral part of the parliament, though he is not part of the legislature. He is integral part. When he say the Parliament of India, the Parliament of India actually have 3 ingredients. We have Lok Sabha, we have Rajya Sabha and the president. But president is not member of Rajya Sabha or Lok Sabha. Always remember. Now next is the financial power that he have. Under Article 112, there is the annual budget that is presented, and the budget is presented in the name of the President of India. Alright, it is called as annual financial statement. At the same time, we have under Article 110, the money bills which are introduced, but at the same time, I told you that the money bills are introduced with the recommendation of the President, and the President cannot deny signing these bills. Alright, after they have been passed by the Parliament. Under Article 280, he constitutes the Finance Commission after every 5 years for the devolution of the resources between the Union and the center and the states. And also, he ensures proper maintenance and auditing of the Consolidated Fund of India, and he can sanction for any urgent or unforeseen needs from the contingency fund. So these are the financial powers of the President of India. Now, also he has certain judicial powers. He has a pardoning authority under Article 72, which grants him the power to pardon. That is where he can remove both the sentence as well as conviction. Or there is reprieve. Reprieve is just stay on the execution. When a mercy petition has been filed to the president, there is a execution has been stayed, and that is called as the reprieve. At the same time, respite, where there would be a lighter punishment, but this lighter punishment would be on the basis of certain special circumstances, like for example, pregnancy. Also, remission, where there will be reduced period of sentence from a longer period. The period of sentence has been reduced or there would be a commutation where there will be a substitution by a lighter punishment. But the main difference between commutation and respite is that in commutation there is no special circumstances. But in respite, there are certain special conditions or circumstances which are taken into consideration. Alright, now what is the scope of the application? Any offence that has been conducted or it happened under the center law, alright, or the court-martial cases and the death sentence cases, there the pardoning power of the president lies. At the same time, when we talk about the objective, it is to correct the judicial errors or show the mercy in the deserving cases which are there, and this power lies with the president, where he can pardon or he can reprieve, respite, remit or commute any sentence. In Kehar Singh versus Union of India in 1989, it was laid down that the president's pardoning power is a constitutional duty and not subject to judicial review on merits. Now, in the judicial power itself, we have the advisory role also. Under Article 143, again, it is very, very important. This is where the president can make reference to the Supreme Court for seeking the advice. Alright, the president may seek Supreme Court's opinion on questions of law or fact of public importance, and the nature is the advisory. When it comes to the nature, it is not binding on the president. The advice that is rendered by the Supreme Court, it is not binding on the president, and the purpose is for the constitutional guidance on the complex matter. Like for example, there were notable examples. We had Beruberi Union case and Ayodhya reference in 1993. And this reflects the president's function as the constitutional consultor as well. There are diplomatic powers of the president as well, where in the international forum or the international affairs and relation, he represents India as the head of the state. At the same time, when we are talking about treaties and agreements, they are signed and ratified on the behalf of the President of India. Alright, we have also the diplomatic appointments. The ambassadors are there, we have high commissioners. They are appointed by the President of India, and also he receives the foreign diplomats and head of these states. And this symbolizes India's sovereignty abroad as well. The President of India is the supreme commander of the armed forces. Alright, he has the appointment authority and appoints the Chief of Indian Army, Indian Navy as well as Indian Air Force. Alright, also he can declare war or peace on the advice of the Council of Ministers, and also all defense decisions are legally taken in the name of the President. However, at the same time, when it comes to the war and peace, or the actual command for the armed forces, that lies or that rests with the Cabinet Committee on Security, alright, or CCS, that is the Cabinet Committee on Security, there the actual power lies. Alright, also when it comes to the emergency power, the President have the emergency power in the event of the constitutional failure, or in the event of national emergency, or in the event of the financial threat that we have for the credit of Union of India. So there are three different types of emergency power that the President have, and these emergencies are proclaimed by the President of India. We have the emergency under Article 352, that is the national emergency, which is applied during war or external aggression or the internal armed rebellion. Alright, during this period, there is extension of the union power across the states, as well as there is suspension of the fundamental rights. However, two rights are not suspended even during the national emergency, and that is Article 20 and Article 21. The Parliament assumes wider legislative power, and during this point of time, the Parliament can legislate on the state subjects as well. Alright, there is a parliamentary approval that is required within the 1 month period, and also when applied or when it continues, so it continues only for the 6 months at a time, and it is subject to renewal as well. There were only 3 times when the national emergency applied. It was in 1962 during Sino-Indian War, 1971 during Pakistan War, and in 1975 for the internal emergency. There is state emergency as well, that is given under Article 356, which is also called as President's Rule. Over here, the President, when he is satisfied that the constitutional machinery has been broken, alright, and failed in a state, so then he can apply the state emergency or the President Rule on the report of the governor, or even otherwise. Even otherwise, if in his independent assessment he thinks that the constitutional machinery have failed in a state. However, at this point of time, what happens is when the president's rule is applied, so at this point of time, the state executive are dismissed, the parliament assumes the legislative power, and also very important to note over here that in 1994 there was S.R. Bommai and versus Union of India case, in which it was laid down that the judicial review can be done to prevent the misuse of the president rule, because it is one of the power that has been misused before 1994 for various reasons. All right. Then comes the financial emergency, which have not been applied in India so far. If the president thinks that there is financial stability of India, sorry, or any state is threatened, so at that point of time, he can apply the financial emergency. During this point of time, the salaries of officials, including the judges of High Court and Supreme Court, may be reduced. Also, the states are bound by unions' fiscal directions, whatever the directions that will be done, and all money bills will be reserved for the presidential consideration. All right, this is the financial emergency under Article 360 and never been invoked so far in India. Now, there are certain discretionary power of the president as well. All right, when we talk about the president, he is bound by the advice of the Council of Ministers, but in these different scenarios, he can act on his own thing as well. All right. So when it comes to the discretionary power, when we have the hung parliament, he can appoint the prime minister when there is no clear majority of any party. All right. During the when there is a loss of majority in the Lok Sabha, so at that point of time, he can dismiss the government, which loses the confidence in the Lok Sabha, and also there is dissolution of Lok Sabha on Prime Minister's advice. However, over here, the timing discretion is with the president. All right, he may not dissolve the Lok Sabha if the time of or the new elections are to be conducted within a very short duration of time. Then comes the reconsideration, that is the returning advice. I told you after 44th Amendment Act, what happened that the president can send back any advice for once, all right, for once reconsideration. So that is his own discretion, and at the same time, reserving state bills for the president's assent under Article 200 is also his own, the reserved bills, whether he have to sign, whether he have to assent or not, that is his own discretionary power. All right, so when it comes to the hidden reserve powers or the discretionary powers, these are the discretionary powers of the president. Now, when it comes to the President of India, it holds quite significance when we talk about the constitutional head or the President of India. It provides the stability and ensures smooth functioning of the democratic institutions. All right, it acts as a restraining influence on the political excesses and act as a moral check, as well as it is a symbol of national conscience and unity that has been laid down by the constitution across the diverse states that we have, and also it represents authority above day-to-day politics, because I told you that the president is not part of the politics. All right, he is not part of the party, but he is the head of the state. So ultimately, and in the words of Granville Austin, the president's role is a mix of dignity, detachment, and a duty. All right. So that would be all. But in the conclusion, I will like to say that when it comes to the nominal power, it is the power, nominal in power, it is essential in presence, the power of the president or the post of the president that we have. The president acts as the constitutional sentinel, ensures the rule of law and even the democratic continuity in India. The strength lies in restraint, wisdom, as well as moral authority. He is the guardian of the constitution, and that would be all. And the powers of the president will meet again in another session where we'll be discussing about the polity concept in the next 20 minutes. So that would be all in today's session. Thank you very much, guys. Bye-bye. Take care and Jai Hind. Do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel. Thank you. Jai Hind.